Hi, welcome. I'm Koby Raymond.
I'm Greg Berman.
And this is the Impact Loop podcast, HolyPay podcast. And this is the very first episode.
Woo! This is where it begins.
This is where it begins. So actually, this is a new content form for HolyPay. And there's a really interesting reason behind it. And it was actually inspired, or really the idea came from Greg. So Greg, would you like to introduce what this is and why we're doing it?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Greg Berman. I'm a comedian, producer of things and all kinds of other things. But one of the so I've been working with HolyPay to help bring an audience to this incredible business venture that you started. We'll get to that in a second. But my idea with this podcast was, I feel like in all of the things that you've told me about HolyPay and everything that I've seen about it, it feels like it's really just, it's a payment platform, but it's a community builder. It really unites sort of the three groups that are the major groups of a community: the merchants, the users, and the nonprofits. And I thought, okay, well, what better way to show that unity than to have those people sit down in a room together and reveal who they are as an individual, as opposed to this grand idea of merchants. When you think about the people in your community that are the merchants, you think of the store and you think of the dry cleaner and this, but you never think about the person behind it. And I think sometimes those stories are the things that really bring customer loyalty and things like that to those businesses.
Right.
Because people don't, especially in a smaller community or in a community where people know each other, people aren't just buying products. They're supporting you if you run a business. And that support is priceless.
Right. And
so
to add
that was
to
the
that,
idea
I
here.
think oftentimes, we consumers, and we shop at we go to different restaurants, or
Right.
go to different businesses, and they obviously provide a product or a service that we utilize in their life.
Right.
But I think the piece that's missing, and hopefully we will bring it out with this podcast, is why those business owners do what they do. So oftentimes
Exactly.
they don't start the business to just feed people or
Right.
or to clean people's
Right.
dry cleaning. There's a deeper reason why that they're using that platform, that mechanism to to be in the community and to provide the service. And that's what we're trying to hopefully bring out, and to let people know the why behind the idea, the behind the scenes of everything that it takes to run a business and to be successful in the business, and really how the community comes together to make that happen.
I think that's a great point, and probably a perfect point to ask you, Koby, why did you start HolyPay? What was your reasoning? Because I'm sure you've worked in other places. I'm actually, maybe give us a little background of where you come from and sort of where your experience is, and how you landed with, hey, I'm going to start a payment platform that supports, charities and per transaction.
Thanks. So just a little quick synopsis of my life story. I was born in the former Soviet Union.
Me too.
And in Moldova specifically in 1983. In 1991, when things were kind of falling apart there, my family actually migrated to Israel, and so we were part of the million or so Russians that moved to Israel. And they lived there for 5 years with my family. Then my parents won the green card lottery and moved to America right after my bar mitzvah. So I actually grew up in Los Angeles in the San Fernando Valley. Starting with 8th grade, then went to high school, and ultimately went to college here at UCLA. Right after high school, I was somewhat of a nerd in high school.
Okay.
So that got me to UCLA.
Me too.
And then after that, interestingly enough, after graduating college, I chose, I guess, not the typical route for a Jewish Russian kid. It took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do. About 4 years after I graduated and still trying to figure that out, I ended up actually joining the U.S. Army. Again, not the typical route for a Jewish Russian
Yeah,
immigrant that
Russian
went to
guy in the
UCLA.
U.S. Army.
That went to UCLA, but I ended up spending almost 8 years in the U.S. Army, both as an enlisted soldier and then as a commissioned officer in the military police corps, and moved back to Los Angeles in 2017, and kind of restarting my career path. And I was working with my brother on a startup idea, and that was my first venture into entrepreneurship. If you told me,
do you think the Army? Would you say that the Army impacted your sort of, like your drive for what you wanted to do after the Army? Like, do you think that it continues to impact sort of your approach to business even?
Sure, absolutely. I think the Army, for sure. I mean, spending 8 years in a large organization, doing all sorts of different things, and being part of that.
And responsibility, and discipline.
And discipline and mission orientation.
Wow.
And being in charge of millions of dollars worth of equipment when I was a platoon leader. Deployment, being in charge of more than just equipment. Wow. Definitely instill a lot of senses of responsibility, of service, of mission, of giving back. And I think in many ways, as I kind of went through life after the Army, and ultimately, kind of was in a position to start a venture, the notion of giving back and service and making an impact, I always felt like, we're here, we wake up every day, I'm supposed to be here for a reason. And for whatever reason, I felt like, I think I've come from a very entrepreneurial family, because both my brother's an entrepreneur. My father came to this country, started a business. My mom was working all sorts of different entrepreneurial endeavors. And so I guess it's somewhat in the blood.
It's the immigrant hustle. I know all about the immigrant hustle.
And so that's kind of how it was. And interestingly enough, like, I guess if you had to tell the origin story of HolyPay, I went through like a very interesting stage of my life where I was like watching these Shark Tank episodes on YouTube.
I think we all went through that stage.
and I saw something on there that was kind of like really inspired me, and really kind of reignited something that was kind of in the back of my mind.
Do you remember what it was? What was the product?
The product had nothing to do with what we're doing.
It was just like a cool pillow that helps your neck or something like that?
No. It was an app. I'll tell you, it was an app for like a childcare business.
Oh, okay.
They had two-sided coin where the teachers would post things about what the kids are doing, and the parents would see in real time like what they're doing. So,
my mom works in daycare. I think like that sounds like that would be amazing, because they have to fill out paperwork all day. Like, when the kid ate, when did this happen? So an app would make that faster.
It was a very interesting idea, but it's actually something that I had in the back of my mind for the nonprofit or organizational experience of like connecting people with organizations and in a very dynamic way. So that's kind of how it was. Like, originally, this was, it was the name of the company was actually My J Light, and the idea of like doing transactions and donations was partly inspired by Amazon Smile, which was very big at the time.
R.I.P. No longer.
Rest in peace. And anyway, so like, very quickly, I actually got connected with someone from the Tarzana Jewish community, Igor Kilimnik, who
sounds like another Russian,
who is a co-founder and honestly the technical lead of the platform. And we started working on something. I bought a domain. We started designing things, and little by little.
This was My J Light.
Which eventually became HolyPay. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people came along the way that really, like, from advisors who became official advisors, mentors, who gave me feedback on the idea. And really, that was an amazing thing. Like, oftentimes people think like, oh, you have this idea and you make it happen. But in reality, how entrepreneurship, at least how I've experienced it, the original idea is never actually what comes out. So you refine it, you see what works, what doesn't, and you work on it, and ultimately, what HolyPay was even 2 years ago, it's definitely not what it is now. And we're moving into a new realm now of really creating not just a a purpose-driven payments platform and infrastructure, but really a community engagement platform that allows businesses and nonprofits and users, people in the community, to all interact in the same ecosystem and do it in an impactful, purpose-driven way that ultimately benefits everybody.
So every transaction isn't just, I spent money on this sandwich. Every transaction becomes a vote in the community. It becomes like, hey, I'm casting my vote to this community as a user. I go to these locations, and a lot of the different businesses on HolyPay are small businesses, you know, mom and pop, and small businesses right now are struggling because of Amazon and all of these big box retailers that can afford, crazy operations. So it's these smaller businesses that are trying to compete in this era of online shopping and all of this other stuff. And so you're kind of redirecting that focus onto the small business and how each user can vote for their community with transactions they're already making. So I think that's great.
So we've all kind of grown up with the mantra that small businesses are the backbone of America.
Right.
And they employ the most people, and they're in our community, and ultimately they're providing a service or a product that is valuable to the community. And ultimately, what we're trying to do is to highlight those businesses with our platform, but really bring a valuable service to them, and that is to build loyalty, which is something that they need to be successful. Every single business owner that tells me, it's they spend a lot of money to bring people in the door, but what's really makes the businesses successful is people coming back for repeat customers and that value the service. And there's all sorts of different factors that get involved that sometimes hinder that from happening. So what we're trying to accomplish with our platform is really, creating an environment where the business can thrive, the community is provided a service from that business that they can value and appreciate, and of course, the third part of the loop is the nonprofit side. So we're connecting all three, that ultimately the people get what they need from the businesses that are part of the community,
right?
And the nonprofit gets benefited. So ultimately creates an emotional connection between the user, something that they care and passionate about, which is a cause that they're supporting.
Right.
The business being a part of the equation, because every single business wants to be viewed as a part of the community, of giving back to the community that makes them great and successful.
Because outside of the walls of their business, they are a part of the community.
Exactly.
Everyone who owns a store in any given community or business also shops at other stores within that community and business.
Exactly. And what we've actually found that most businesses, interestingly enough, they do things for the community, whether they make donations for something, or they give free food, or they're providing a service at a discount for a nonprofit. They're already doing a lot of things for the community, but oftentimes it's kind of in a vacuum. No one knows about it. And so we built a platform with HolyPay that allows all that goodwill to come to the forefront and really be known and which ultimately resonates with the users. And it brings everything into the forelight of how the community actually works and functions. And I think with this podcast, really just to take you to the next phase of the podcast, and we're actually launching next week, God willing, a new feature in the app called Community. And it's designed to really highlight news and merchants and nonprofits and have news impact stories and different promotions and different deals in the community, or different content that is created by community leaders for the community. So you kind of have a place to go in the app to see what's going on in my community. And obviously the foundation of it, there's a payment platform that will be a part of it that people can utilize to buy services and purchase from our partner businesses. But ultimately, what we're building with HolyPay, and I hope this podcast will also bring out, is that we're all in this together. It takes a lot, to build a village or to build a community, and there's a lot of pieces that make the community great. And this podcast is designed to really bring out some of those stories, the hidden impact drivers, to highlight the stories of the businesses that make our community great, of the nonprofits, the organizations that do tremendous work for the community to bring out the best in our community, to whether it's outreach or social services or working for the disabled. Like, there's a lot of organizations that ultimately do tremendous, powerfully important work that a lot of people benefit, but most people don't even know they exist. And one of the things that we'll have a lot of different nonprofits here that talk about it, one of the biggest challenges that they have is really comes down to funding.
Of course.
They want to do.
You're a nonprofit.
You're a nonprofit. They have a tremendous mission. They do great work.
And everything costs money.
And everything costs
every
money.
meeting, every party, everything.
Right. And so what we're aiming to do, with HolyPay to assist with that process, and really that's the vision.
So right now you're primarily. So it sounds like you're trying to. You're focused on a kind of micro level, not the entire community of, let's say, Jewish people or Americans or, Los Angeles. You're focused on, at least for right now, because of, it's still early in HolyPay stages, you're focused on a smaller community to try to create that sort of space for people within their immediate area. So the question is, are you planning on expanding this beyond? Right now it sounds like it's kind of the Pico Robertson, area where it sort of began. Is there any idea of like expanding beyond that and starting this up in multiple communities? And do people choose which community they are a part of when they sort of open the community portion on the app and all that kind of stuff?
Sure. So all great questions. I guess
all 9 of them.
I guess in tech speak, there's a roadmap to everything.
Right.
And we kind of launched in the beta stage last year, and had a lot of beta users, beta businesses, beta nonprofits to really kind of start the process, refine the technology to make sure everything is working as it should.
Right.
And we achieved a lot of those milestones this year in terms of actually making the whole platform work from start to finish, from the initial transaction to ultimately distribution of funds to the businesses, to the nonprofits receiving donations.
Great.
So we've actually already generated over $3,000 worth of donations for our nonprofit partners.
Wow. Okay.
And every day more and more nonprofits are coming on board.
How many nonprofits is that have benefited? Do you know, like off the top of your head, like approximately?
It's over 30 nonprofits have benefited so far.
Cool.
And every single user that comes on board, and they can select any nonprofit as long as it's verified with the IRS as a 501c3, and the platform will keep track of all their activity, of all their donations, and then when the time comes for us to process donations, then those nonprofits will benefit.
Wow.
So we're just beginning. And like I said, we just launched the mobile app, the native mobile app on iOS iPhones and Android phones a couple months ago. And
download it.
And still refining, so we're getting ready to actually launch a number of really cool features that will really make a lot of people very excited. People talked about it.
That's got to be so hard. That's got to be so hard to know all of the cool things that you want to do and know that it's coming, but have to sit and be like, I just wish it was here now.
Right.
It's like moving into a new house and all your furniture's there, but nothing is in the right place. And you're sitting there going like, oh, this is going to look so nice as soon as I can put this couch where it should be.
So we have, the vision is quite grand, but like really in the near future, I can just mention a couple features that are coming out. One, like I mentioned, the community feed is actually launching next week. Later this month, hopefully, we'll launch what's called merchant rewards. Okay. So it's really an ability for people and businesses to build loyalty and goodwill and digital rewards through participation and shopping at different merchants.
Cool.
Right behind that is a cool feature called HolyPay Cash.
Okay.
Which is really digital rewards for you to actually money to spend at partner businesses.
Okay.
And a few other cool things in the works. We're also right now building integrations with e-commerce. We're focusing first on Shopify and WooCommerce, and which we hope will go live. That integration will launch by the end of the year, hopefully. And that will open us up not to just the local area, just to answer your question,
Right.
but really beyond. So any e-commerce website, obviously Shopify being the largest, with millions of websites being on Shopify, different merchants being on Shopify platform, or WooCommerce, the next largest. So that will allow us to basically, be a part of, those websites and make it easier for people to
Cool.
create impact and shop at those businesses and give back with their shopping to something they care about.
So the idea is like, let's lay the groundwork here where we're nearby and present, so we can go and actually guide merchants through the transactions and all of that stuff, and make sure that we understand what it's like to onboard these businesses and understand what the best flow is for that, and then some of these new features. And once all of that groundwork is laid, then the goal is to eventually, obviously, open it up to the Shopify e-commerce side, which is the whole country, but then start to set up these communities throughout.
Right. So the vision
different cities.
the vision is very simple, meaning any business, any merchant that takes payments, whether it's through Venmo or Zelle or cash or check, or through a point of sale system, or through Stripe or through PayPal, whatever it is, any single business, we want HolyPay to be an option by which they will receive payments.
Oh, so not just like a store or a restaurant, like even we're talking like Hebrew teachers or
Exactly.
painters, for example. Yeah.
Exactly. It's designed to work for a freelancer, mobile business that, just a one-man person that comes, maybe like a balloon party animal person, or a magician, or a comedian.
This is great. I love that.
Or an artist, or a plumber.
Right.
Like a one kind of freelance business, or a storefront business, which we're mostly familiar with, like a physical location, like a restaurant, like a dry cleaning that you go to. And the third category is the e-commerce website.
What about like subscription stuff?
Right. So we actually also just implemented a feature for subscriptions to enable businesses that do have subscriptions and memberships and stuff like that. We're also doing final testing on that and bringing it into the app as well. So really, HolyPay is designed to kind of cater to a variety of businesses, as long as they take payments. As we continue to build and refine the technology, the way I like to describe it, what HolyPay is, we're building the next type of payment infrastructure, purpose-driven, payments with purpose. And to simplify it is just like what Stripe and the PayPal did to digitize payments, and what Apple Pay and Google Pay made to make it seamless. HolyPay is designed to make payments more purposeful.
Okay.
And we'll have simplicity, and we'll have digital aspect of it.
Right.
And slowly but surely, as we refine the technology, and there's a lot of technological challenges.
Well, it's any kind of money processing. Now
Right.
you're talking like SEC regulations
Right.
and nonprofit versus for-profit businesses. Has that been a hard thing to navigate?
So in some ways, yes, because especially with the storefront businesses, because each one has their own point of sale system, and there's hundreds of them, from ones
Square,
that cater,
Toast, all of these,
ones that cater to dry cleaning, to restaurants, to grocery stores. There's hundreds of them for each type of industry, and ultimately our goal is to build native integration and seamless integration into each one of them, so it makes it very easy. My vision for the platform is like, you come to a business, you take your phone, you just do the beep, and you're out of there. Right now, there's
a piece of that goes to your favorite charity.
Right. So right now, there's a little bit of a couple more steps you have to take, just because we don't have the integration, but it works, and it's once you do it a couple times, it becomes pretty natural. Natural in the sense, interesting enough, you asked me earlier, like, are you thinking about expanding? We're exploring our first kind of expansion effort to New Jersey, and we're actually moving ahead with it quite rapidly. So
Wow.
we have someone on the ground in New Jersey already.
Wow.
That's ready, not Lakewood, close to Lakewood, Teaneck, Clifton area. And
But if Lakewood wants to come by, right?
yeah, we're open. No,
We're open.
We're able to onboard any business right now who is, and again, we're a startup, early phase startup, but we're excited and we're moving fast.
But this is what businesses love, though, is this kind of energy of it's still flexible. Sometimes when as I'm also a freelancer, there's a lot of things that I do that's freelance, and sometimes when you try to anytime you get any kind of professional services, you have to like sort of incorporate yourself into their very dug in processes. It has to be like this. It has to be like this. It has to be like this. But I think one of the benefits of working with a newer business model is the flexibility that we're all still expanding. Like I'm sure, for example, when you started to explore the subscription model, you were like, oh, this is an interesting thing that we hadn't considered with HolyPay yet. So as you onboard these new businesses and these new different kinds of experiences, the app is evolving along with it, which I think is so great. I love being a part of things that are just starting because you can really make a change in it, at least as someone who works with those kinds of businesses.
So yeah, absolutely. So that's in many ways we're creating something that doesn't exist.
Right.
Everybody's familiar with donations, but typically the way donations are done now, there's kind of in two different experiences. One, I'm sure everyone's experienced, you check out at a business, at a grocery usually, and it asks you at the end, do you want to donate $1 to this organization that you've never heard of? So it's usually like an add-on.
Yeah, sure.
And
Okay.
oftentimes you're like, I don't know who this organization is,
Right.
and whether they're going to get my $1, I have no
Right.
idea. And the second way people donate is just like it's a separate part of life altogether. A lot of nonprofits have campaigns,
drives,
or memberships,
monthly donations that reoccurring and all that kind of stuff.
right?
Yeah.
But it's like a separate part of your life.
Right.
But what HolyPay is, what we're trying to do with HolyPay is bring it into the everyday. And every day we buy things, we get services. Every day we have transactions that are part of every day, whether we buy clothes, whether we buy groceries, whether we go out to eat, whether we take our kids out to like a play gym or whatever it is. There's everyday activities that require payments. And HolyPay is designed to bring the donation and the purpose impact behind it into the everyday payment process. So it's really like and what's amazing, the way we designed it, it's very transparent. Every single part of the pillar, whether you're a merchant or a user or a nonprofit, sees exactly what happens, how the money gets distributed. And that's one of the things that was very important for us because we wanted to build trust and credibility. So we made it very open, on the back end, whether you're a user, you can see exactly how it works. On the merchant, how the breakdown works. On the nonprofit,
just so cool because I've used HolyPay and I've used it a couple times. I don't live in the Pico Robertson area, so whenever I'm there, I try to find if I'm going to go get some coffee, I'll just go to a place that's already in there, or bakery or anything like that. And the other day, I opened the app because I was looking for a dry cleaner, and I saw that there was a thing that like my profile that showed how much I donated, and I was kind of surprised. I looked at it and I went, really, wow, like this is how much money I have contributed to my favorite charity, without even knowing it. I mean, that was the cool thing. It's like one of those things that you don't have to maintain it. It's not something you have to think about.
Right.
I'm just doing the stuff that I would already be doing. I had to get I have a couple suits I needed to get cleaned. That was just part of it. But then to look a month later and go, oh, wow, because of me, $50 went to this. That's cool. I like that.
So and it's amazing because the way the platform works, the business decides how much to donate. That's part of their kind of social responsibility giving back initiative.
Which is really smart, by the way, to put that burden of that on the business, because I think the average consumer, they're just trying to get by, and sometimes, especially those are the people that need the most help with donating,
right?
Because sometimes I think a lot of people think like I barely have enough money. I don't have enough money to give.
Right.
But they want to help. Everyone wants to help. And businesses, they're making money and they can spare a small percentage of that income for a good cause. So I think that's such a smart idea to put that burden on the merchant.
So
if you can call it a burden.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't think
especially
it's something they want to do.
Right, exactly.
Because ultimately for them there's a value associated with it. They're building goodwill with the customer.
Right.
They're building up their reputation. They're standing up for something that's good. They're giving back.
Right.
They're viewed positively by these nonprofits, but ultimately, as elevating their business for something greater than just the service they're providing. So for them, it's the cost that they're donating. Ultimately, it pays for itself.
Of course, you're actually taking the burden out of it. It's no longer a burden. So it's just something you're helping with.
100%.
Yeah.
So we make it very easy because from the business standpoint, also what we experience, what we've been the feedback we're receiving, the way the businesses, they want to give back. A lot of businesses know what social responsibility is and how important it is to give back. The challenge is they don't know how to do it, whether they don't have the infrastructure or they say, you know what, we're going to give back to X organization and 10% of our profit or earnings this month will go to this organization. And that's great. The challenge is that most of their customers may not have an emotional connection with that specific organization they've selected.
Right.
So HolyPay fixes that with, like I said, the business decides how much to contribute. The customers decides where it goes to something that they care about. So ultimately, at the end of the transaction, the business is happy because they were able to do something to donate to a cause the customer cares about. The customer feels great about the business. Wow, this business really supports and cares about something that I care about.
That I care about, right.
That ultimately builds goodwill, builds loyalty, makes them want to come back more, makes them want to talk about it and tell other people about how amazing that experience was. And that's something that's new. It doesn't exist anymore. What's the other part of this really revolutionary, I think, within the platform, you mentioned, you were surprised by how much money was donated.
Yeah.
Our average donation that is set, on average, even though businesses can select anywhere from 3 to 10%, on average across the platform, it's about 5.5% that's being donated per transaction.
So out of $100, $5.
Exactly.
Okay.
So because we have actually some businesses have larger transactions, our average transaction size is a little higher. So our average donation per transaction is about $8. So if you can imagine, the amount of impact at scale that can create to the nonprofit is just incredible. And that was one of we're talking about Amazon Smile. I think one of the challenge that they had, the impact was just not what they envisioned it to be because their average transaction was about 0.5%.
Oh.
So our HolyPay is over 10 times of what Amazon Smile was actually
ever donating
per transaction. And of course, we're expanding the transactions to all sorts of commerce, not just like one e-commerce giant.
Right.
And what we envision, what we truly believe will happen is we're revolutionizing the way people pay for things. And the way, creating a whole new revenue stream for nonprofits to continue to do the tremendous work that they're doing, and really allowing them to do even more. And it's very exciting. It's very exciting. We're really at the cusp of just the beginning, and I'm really excited for what's to come and what's already in the pipeline. And certainly with the expansion, we're exploring the expansion to New Jersey, and beyond that, there's the goal is to really make it an international platform.
Right.
And I think we're well on our way. We have tremendous support from the community. I think everyone that has interacted with the platform, be it the user, a merchant, a nonprofit, has had very positive experiences. And
that's what this podcast will be, is to highlight those merchants, those nonprofits.
Exactly.
So that we can, they're happy with the service that HolyPay provides them, and we want to showcase what they're doing to even further that community aspect, both here in Los Angeles, but really everywhere. So this podcast kind of runs in tandem with HolyPay, giving the merchants and the nonprofits an even bigger platform to spread their message and hopefully drive even more of that. Of the donations and the good, the purpose.
Right, and I think that speaks. That's why the name is the Impact Loop.
The Impact Loop.
Because and I thank you for the name, the inspiration behind the name, and the design of the logo.
The logo that I'm going to superimpose right here.
But what the Impact Loop, obviously, it's an impact-driven platform. We're creating an impact in every single part of the loop, the business, the nonprofit, or even people. Everybody's making an impact. On a different scale, and everybody's connected in this one loop, and ultimately together. And this is what this platform is really about: bringing people together, bringing businesses together, nonprofits together into one ecosystem that is all about goodness, is all about bringing goodness from people into our community and making our community stronger and better for it. So I'm really excited for where we are now. I'm even more excited where we're going together. And as we bring on more people onto this podcast to share their stories, to share their inspiration, their whys behind what they do, I think a lot of people will be very surprised and very grateful to learn about the hidden gems that
and
are
the
in
people
the
behind the
community.
counter. You know, the people that own these places that you already love and the places you're already going to.
Right. I'm sure there's a lot of people that will be very surprised. You know, we have a lot of businesses that have been here for years, for decades, but most people don't even know like who is behind.
Right. Or the
that
why or the
business.
purpose or any of
Right.
that stuff. So, and the same with the nonprofits.
Right. I mean, it's really incredible. Like there's every day we come in contact or with another nonprofit, and then when you learn about the mission and what they do, it's like, I mean, your hat goes off to them. It's like, and the dedication and the sacrifices that they go through to make someone's lives better, it's really incredible. And especially considering they do it oftentimes at a sacrifice to their own life or to their families, and with limited resources, and what they're able to accomplish is really, really incredible.
Absolutely. So let's see where this takes us. I'm excited. I'll be on the mic in the back, so I'll be available for any kind of research mid-podcast in case there's any questions. You'll hear my voice come on. But this is all you. You're gonna be leading the way.
It's not me. It's a team effort.
You're right.
It's a team effort, and I'm excited to have more people in that chair, and
It's a good chair.
and to learn about them, and to learn about how they make the community great, and to see where we go from here.
Amazing. To the impact loop, right?
So join us at the second episode of the Impact Loop, and we can have a very special guest.
Very excited. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.